17 years.
Yeah.
We were doing about 200 flips a year, and we were doing that consistently. Our high point was probably about 370, and just trying to fine tune. We were just a machine cranking things out, and really weren't paying attention too much to metrics. You know, when money's good, you just
go with it, right?
Just go with it. So really to fine tune, really look at things differently, leverage technology, really look at your numbers and improve.
For sure.
Do you have what I want to be when I grow up, though?
Yeah. Do you have staff, or do you outsource everything?
We have about 20 staff.
Okay.
So right now with everything, it's been a little challenging. That's the main reason is, and we've kept everybody. We've been able to keep everybody, but you know, you start looking at things and how you can make tweaks to get rid of some of the staff and make it more incentive based and get creative.
So that 20 people, are they actual crew members, like doing the work on these places, or?
No, that's administrative staff and field operations.
Do you sub out all the work?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, so you operate really similar to how we do.
Okay.
Let's see. So when Matt, today it's just me and Amanda, but Wednesday when Matt hops on, you can talk to him and he'll give you some good ideas about the renovation business.
Yeah, I was scheduled to fly out and kind of go see the operations out there, but it just didn't work out with everything that took place.
Yeah, we haven't had anyone come in recently. We've just been doing all virtual meetings with people that have been scheduled. It's a shame, but jumped off.
I'm still wearing my professional attire from working out this morning, so.
Yeah. That's the funny thing about these Zoom meetings. Got my collared shirt on up top and I'm in sweatpants.
Now, where are you based out of, Amanda?
I actually live in the Phoenix area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt used to live in Scottsdale, so that's where I got hired, and then he moved back, and I stayed here.
So Matt was in Phoenix?
Yeah, he was in Scottsdale.
Okay.
Like 5 years, right?
For a while, yeah.
Yeah, he was in Phoenix for a while. Where are you again, Armando?
I'm in Visalia, California, Fresno area.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of Matt Garabedian.
Yeah, I think so. He
just interviewed him last Thursday, I believe.
Yeah, I believe he's a student.
Yeah.
Last name sounds familiar. I hope some more people hop on. Definitely quite a few people reserved it, but we'll just get a couple more minutes and then we'll kick off. Hey, Chelsea.
Hey, it's Andre, not Chelsea. I'm about to share my cam. Yep.
Yeah, no problem. Take your time. There you go.
There I am. Okay.
How's it going?
Good, as well as it could be. My city's kind of a war zone, so I'm doing my best.
Where are you at?
Austin.
Okay. Yeah, we were just talking about it. Pretty much all of us are, watching.
Yeah.
We're just sitting around for a couple minutes waiting for some more people to hop on, then we'll get started here.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll go till 1:05 and then we'll start. What was your name again? I'll rename you in the chat so people know.
Andre, Andrey.
Last name again?
Grebenetsky.
Someone coming in with the phone. How's it going? Did you come in on the phone?
This is Victor. How you guys doing?
Hey, Victor. How's it going?
Doing all right.
Just waiting a couple more minutes for some people to join, then we'll get started.
Okay.
Victor, I don't think I've ever heard about what you do in real estate. You mind talking about it a little bit?
I'm wholesaling.
Mhm.
I've done about 7 deals. I've been doing it for a few years. I don't do it full time.
Mhm.
I'm based in Los Angeles, but I'm looking in Ohio,
Mhm.
in the Youngstown market, and also doing some stuff in looking at the Little Rock, Arkansas market.
Yeah.
So I don't do it full time. I have another business. I'm an executive recruiter in the LA area.
Okay.
I place accountants, CPAs.
So how does virtual wholesaling work out for you? Is it going pretty smooth or?
Yeah, it's it's the challenge that I have is spending time with my, I'm self-employed on the in my recruiting business,
Mhm.
and it's just managing the time. Same thing that everyone else has is
Yeah.
it's being able to spend enough time on the real estate side, and my goal is to become more efficient at it and automate it.
Mhm.
Get VAs involved, because I've never really hired a VA
Yeah.
per se. So that's what I want.
Yeah.
To hire VAs also in both businesses. So
Yeah, so you
which
should be
will
able to
help me.
get a lot away from today's. You can't necessarily see what we're doing, but you'll get the recording, so you can always go back and you have the course, of course, to reference.
Okay, so there will be a recording of this.
Yeah, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday we're doing these, and I'm recording all of them, and I'll put them into a YouTube playlist for you guys that way you can rewatch.
Okay, great.
So.
Good deal. I tried my video. I tried to zoom in on but my actual. So I made the call instead. Next week I'll do or next time I'll be set up on the video. So.
Yeah, whatever works. It's fine. All right, so it's past 1:05. So if we want to get started, let's go ahead. So today, how we're going to do these, we're going to do a quick lesson in the beginning, and then we're going to do a Q&A session about 25-30 minutes in, where you guys just rattle off questions. We just talk through them as a group. Today's topic would be virtual assistant setup and some jobs you can do. There's a couple sections we can't show you on the screen because they have like personal details, but those are in the course. That way you guys can look back and reference those. So,
okay.
Amanda, where do you want to start with? Do you want to start with Upwork? How we do that?
Yeah, so let me see. I just need to share my screen really quick. Host disabled attendee screen sharing. Would you be able to fix that, Tyler?
Yeah. Let's see. Try again. What's it say?
Host disabled attendee screen sharing. So it looks like you can screen share, but we can't right now.
Sec. Let me just make you a host and we'll see what happens. Okay, try now.
And let me just, all
Okay.
right. Can everyone see my screen?
I can.
I
Okay.
can't. I'm on the phone.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Everyone else can see it though?
Yep, that's good.
All right, so we'll start. This is our actual how-to document. We have videos that go along with all of these, but this way you guys can follow along. If you're at a computer, we'd like you to walk through these steps with us if you don't already have an Upwork account. How many people have an Upwork account already?
Not yet.
Any of you guys?
We do.
Not yet, but I've used it before.
Okay, so if you want to follow along right now to set it up, we can go slow and you guys can set up your accounts and go through actually posting the ad for virtual assistant. So to get started, you'll go to upwork.com and then you'll click the sign up button at the top. I'm wondering if I don't think I can see the screen while I'm sharing my screen, right, Tyler? Like I can't see the individuals.
No, you should have a little button or a little sidebar with everything.
Oh, here we go. There we go. Yeah. I just want to be able to see and talk to people. Okay, so is everybody at upwork.com?
Yeah.
Getting there. Okay.
Okay, and then click sign up, and it's going to have give you the option to sign up with either your Gmail account if you have one, or you can enter in another email address if you don't have Google.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and do that. And then once everybody's there, we'll go through the onboarding questions. And I know last time we did this, it was different for a few people. So I don't know if they just changed these up or like if you've had an account in the past, they might not ask you these questions. But we can walk you through those.
Amanda, before you get to the part where we're posting it, let's do that exercise where we talk about delegation.
Okay, you want to do that first?
You want to do it first? You want to go to the, let's go through the account setup first, and then before then we'll do it.
Okay. Yeah, that'll work. Is everyone still working on getting to these questions here for the account setup? Or are we all there?
I think Armando has an account, and it should just be Andre.
Oh, okay.
I'm just gonna follow along. You know what? Normally, gentleman helps me out, kind of runs the show.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Sure.
I'm just troubleshooting Zoom a little bit, so I'm gonna
okay,
be
gotcha.
following along.
Okay, so do you just want me to continue through then?
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't know if anyone's actually setting up their account right now while they follow along, or if I should just go through this.
No, keep going. That's everybody. So.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Sounds good. So once you put in your email address, it's going to give you some onboarding questions. So there's a few different options here as you go through these, but pretty much it'll ask you what brings you to Upwork. It's trying to get to know you and your company so that it can customize it a little bit better for you. But we usually just select, I'm ready to post a job and see candidates. And then down here, I want to see if using freelancers is right for my company. And then it'll ask you how many employees you have. So you could just select the option there that fits your company. Mm-hmm. And then the expertise that you have, and you'll enter your phone number to continue. And so once you go through all of these, again, just asking about you and your company, it'll bring you to the place to actually post your ad. One of the questions that it'll ask, you can come back to it too. So like if you already have an account, Armando, somewhere in your settings, and we can show you that later too. It'll allow you to share Upwork with coworkers. So you said you have somebody that works for you doing a lot of this stuff. So if they don't have their own account, you could always just, share their email. It'll invite them. Okay, so I know sometimes we've given like I know I have like to my virtual assistant, like login information that I have, I'll just put like a generic password. And a lot of these, you don't have to do that because it allows you to let them set up their own account so you don't run into that issue. Mm-hmm. And then once you answer all of those questions, it'll have you getting started on posting the ad. And so this is where we actually have we have a few different types of ads. Most of them are just going to be generic, and you can customize those based on what you're looking for. So if you want someone specific to cold calling, you can customize this ad and just put in the details for cold calling. But this will cover pretty much everything, and it'll attract a lot of the virtual assistants that you would be looking for to do some of this real estate investing stuff. So again, before you begin posting your ad, write down the tasks you're wanting to hand off. So
Yeah,
this
let's
can
break into that exercise after that.
yeah
Yeah. Let me try sharing my screen. You might have to, Amanda, switch me back to the host.
Okay, no problem. Just tell me how to do that.
3 dots on top of me should bring up like a little settings menu, and then it says make host, I believe.
Okay, yeah, I have one small dot, show active host. Here we go, make host. There we go, got it. Okay.
Yep. Okay, one sec.
Do you want me to stop sharing my screen, or are you good?
Now I'm gonna jump in.
Okay.
So I have a couple worksheets, you guys. You guys can just take out a piece of printer paper and do this if you want, or follow along in your head, Victor, if you're on the phone. So what you want to do before you delegate tasks to a virtual assistant is pretty much list out the time-consuming things that are in your day. You want to list out. You don't want to go too granular, like every 5 minutes, but what are you spending most of your time on throughout the day? Are you checking your email all day? Are you sorting through leads and making sure they make sense? Are you pushing out offer amounts? Are you actually driving to closings and doing stuff like that? So take a couple minutes and get a piece of paper. List out everything you're not good at or just don't like doing in your business, then list out the things that you do like to do. So it's gonna be a little different for everyone, but let's just start with, let's do like 5 and 5 if you guys want to start, and then we'll go from there. You guys getting some stuff down?
Well, it's a learning process for me. So I'm not at the point yet where I would be doing, writing out stuff that I don't like doing yet. I'm still learning all this stuff.
Oh, you're still new, Andre?
Yeah, so I gotten into real estate investing, and I'm growing my investment portfolio and also figuring out what I want to do as far as a real estate business in the next few years.
Okay.
So it's all very interesting to me. I'm just not at the point of what I don't like to do yet.
Got it. Let's see. What about Victor? Victor, you're on the phone. Can you think of a couple things that you
A couple of things don't like: cold calling, sellers, and also looking for leads or trying to scrape leads on Zillow and Craigslist.
Yeah, those are the ideal virtual assistant tasks to hand off. And Andre, those are some of the first things that you would put in place with a VA too, is those marketing things and talking to sellers on a case-by-case basis. Pretty much anything that's really granular and individual, you would want to hand off to a virtual assistant.
Okay, yeah.
So once you get started, you're going to realize, hey, pulling my marketing list of sellers is really tedious and time consuming just to, get a list of an Excel spreadsheet. So I'm going to pass that off to someone that can do it for something that's a lot less value per hour. So say your time per hour is worth 30 to 80 bucks an hour. Virtual assistant is only $3 to $10 an hour. You pass those things off that are worth less than what you're worth. Let's go down. There's another exercise we can do. Think about the things that you do on a weekly basis, not a daily basis, that you don't like to do. And then think about what you want to remove from your task list that you're doing weekly. Just something to think about. And then let's go through each of you guys. Tell me what you think your unique ability is. So everyone has a thing that they really love to do in their business. Now, Andre, this might be something in general that you're really good at business-wise, but everyone's got one. What do you think you guys' unique ability is?
This is Victor. Analyzing deals.
Okay. So like actually looking at the numbers once they come in and making the decision?
Yes.
Okay. How about the
I'd say
rest of
for me, my skill set is in orchestrating and managing other people.
Okay. What's your background, Andre?
I'm in IT consulting.
Okay.
So I do basically high-end consulting projects for big companies to implement systems. And I also invest in real estate on the side.
Okay. What type of deals are you investing in? Is it you just acquiring rentals, or you
Yeah,
starting to
acquiring
flip?
rentals. So right now I'm acquiring rentals.
Okay.
I'm currently selling a few fourplexes that's going to close on Friday, and I'm buying a lot of single-family homes via turnkey providers right now, and then trying to figure out all
Okay.
the ways I could do better than that.
Yeah. So where do you work with turnkey providers right now? Where are they based out of?
The one right now, Indianapolis. So I'm buying them out of state.
Okay. How about
But
Armando, your unique ability?
Stay out of the way.
Yeah, you think
Yeah.
so?
You know what? I really don't make many decisions on deals under a couple $100,000 now. I have my brother and a few other people that do that. I'm starting to get more involved on the commercial side of projects. So that's taking up a lot of my time nowadays.
Yeah.
But I do check the pulse of the business daily.
Yeah, you're in a similar position to Matt. Matt, maybe like 2 years ago, realized that he was kind of like the bottleneck in the company progressing forward and started to remove himself. And then once we had all the processes down for everything that was happening, and he just became the person that looks at the KPIs of the business, it actually started running a little better.
Yeah, that's kind of the same here. I'm trying to. I know we have to implement a lot of tools to be able to track things a little bit better.
Yeah,
So.
for sure. Well, since you guys are at all different points and you guys understand what I'm getting at, think about all those things you don't like to do. Those are the things you're going to be handing off to virtual assistants. Now, we're going to talk about the two places where you get these virtual assistants. One is Upwork. Upwork that Amanda started to talk about. That's for full-time virtual assistants. These are people that are logging in just like actual employees, but they're, of course, not at your physical location. They're going to do part-time or long-time work for you, and they'll always come back and just work for you. Fiverr, which is what we're going to talk about after, is for one-off things. So if you like just want one individual task done, you want them to pull you a cash buyer list once, you don't necessarily want that person on payroll. Fiverr is the one-off place where you can get those people. Amanda, I'll have you hop back in and finish up Upwork, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, yep, sounds good. And then if you could just make me the host again.
Yep, should be now.
Okay. Okay, so can everybody see my screen again?
Yep.
All right. So we're here starting to post the ad. So again, what Tyler just went through, this is all going to depend on what you actually want to hand off. But if you're looking for just a general virtual assistant that can do a lot of different things, we have an ad ready to go actually for you guys that you can just copy and paste. And so I'm going to scroll down a little bit on how to actually post that ad. So is anybody actually following along and doing this right now, or are you guys all just watching with us?
I think everyone's just watching.
Okay, just making
Watching.
sure. So if you guys have any questions, you can just let me know, but I'll just go through this then. So it's going to ask you for a job category. When you're actually creating your account, it'll probably bring you to this to get started, and you can start posting your ad from there or come back to it. If you already have an account, you'll just go to, so my job, when you're logged into Upwork, this post a job button. If you click that, it's going to bring you to where we are right now. So all of the options on short-term or part-term work, and then long-term, and we're going to go through these over here on my sheet now. So you're going to enter the name of your job post. So we usually just put like virtual assistant for real estate investing. You can just put virtual assistant, cold calling virtual assistant. It's all going to depend on what you're looking for there. And then the job category, it actually will already select whatever's closest to the title that you entered. But if it's not right, you can always see more options and select from there. Again, we want virtual assistants, so we're going to leave that marked. And then down here, it's going to have you enter in the description. And so this is where we actually have the we have this written down where you can, again, just copy and paste this description in here. You can also customize it and add anything you want. Okay, so here's the description that you can copy and paste if you just want to use ours. And this is for like lead generation, marketing, cold calling. We just include everything that we know that we're probably going to have this virtual assistant do. And then once they get started, we'll have them begin with just one task. And then once they master that task, we'll add on from there. We never give them too many things at one time, because just like if you were starting a new job, there's going to be a learning curve. So you don't want to overwhelm them. We want to get them good at, yeah. Yeah, so, and then the details. So how we were just looking at long-term, short-term, one-time project. This is where you're going to select all of these details. So we usually select ongoing project because we like to hire VAs from Upwork that we plan to keep for a long time. And then all of the screening questions here.
On whatever we do, like if we hire a VA for a specific thing like a cold caller, and maybe we start to ramp down our cold calling over time, we'll just retrain them and move them into a different position so we still have them on staff. If we figure out they're actually a good employee and they show up all the time, we'll just reposition them over time if our needs change.
Yep, so as you're going through these, it'll give you some optional screening questions if you'd like to do that. Usually the two things we like to do is have them fill out the DISC assessment through the Tony Robbins website so that we can see what their personality type is, so we know where to place them in the company. And then another thing we like to have them do, since they're virtual assistants, usually from out of the country, we like to have them send us a voice recording so we can see how good their English is, since a lot of times we will have them making calls. We want to make sure that they're conversational at least when they're doing this. Okay, and then you can always come back to any of this too if you don't set it up this way initially. And then expertise, again, you're just going to go through and select anything like, so the focus, virtual, you know, if it has like real estate, anything you want them to focus on here, skills. So if there's something specific, you know, if they're going to be doing like website design or cold calling, or you can make sure that they have the additional skills here before you actually review their resume. And then level of experience. So we actually choose entry level. We're going to hire a lower level virtual assistant. Usually they don't have any experience, and that's totally fine. We have all of the training. They just need to be, you know, ready to learn, and they need to be quick learners. And usually the ones that we hire are, because you're going through all of these different steps to make sure that you're only attracting the right candidates, and you're narrowing it down based on like the DISC assessment and the voice recording and those sorts of things. And then location and time zone preference. So you want to select worldwide. We don't want to select US only, because then you're limiting all of the candidates that are out of the country. And we find that they're actually usually more competitive price-wise, but also they're really hard workers. Like we have a couple from the Philippines, one from Bangladesh. So you definitely don't want to narrow that down. So select worldwide there. And then the time zone is going to be your time zone or wherever you're actually doing the investing. So that they know that they're going to be working during your business hours. And then visibility is just who can see your job posting. So we leave that open to anyone. And then you just choose how many people you want to hire. And if you choose one, you can always repost the ad later too. You can use this same ad over and over as many times as you want. And then the talent preferences allow you to select only like the top performers. So we never select any candidates or invite any candidates to apply for the job if they have a lower than 90% success rate. We like to take those 90% and up. It's kind of covered by this talent type drop-down menu, which there we would select independent. And then underneath that is the actual success rates of that virtual assistant. And then include rising talent, we leave that checked. That's just anybody that doesn't have actual experience. So it's not saying they're not a good worker. It's not saying they are. They just, it's almost like not having a credit score. Like we just don't know yet. So we want to include those people. And then amount earned. So we just leave that open. We don't care how much they've earned. And then English level, so this is going to depend on what you're going to use them for. We like them to at least be conversational or better for all of our positions, because at some point they probably will be making calls, and they need to be able to carry on a conversation. But if you're going to have someone doing only cold calling, you might want someone that's fluent or better for this position. And then when you go to select your budget, this is really up to you. If you're going to keep them on your staff, then you want to pay them by the hour. If you're going to only use them for like a one-time project, you can do a fixed price there and only pay them the one time. So our virtual assistants will start anywhere between $3 and $5 an hour, and we usually do a probationary period. And if they're showing potential and they're doing really well, then we'll bump that up, usually about 30 days or so. And it's not required. You don't have to do that. It's just something we do like to do. And then time requirement. So we like to keep anyone we hire long-term if possible. That way you don't have to have a lot of turnaround and retrain people. So here we'll do more than 6 months because that's always the plan, but you're not obligated. So if it doesn't work out, there's no issue with you selecting more than 6 months there. And then time requirement, here, sometimes if we just want to start them out part-time, we'll choose the less than 30 hours a week. And again, you can change this at any time. So if you really like how they're doing and want to bump them up to full-time, you can change that even after they're already hired. And then once you fill out all of those questions, it'll have you review everything. And then you'll just click Post Job Now. And then once your ad is live, you'll start getting applications, but you want to make sure that you go to your settings in Upwork. And then over here on notification settings, you'll just want to make sure that you turn on all of the notifications and make sure they're coming to your email so that when you do have a new applicant, you actually get an email letting you know to go and review that applicant. And then the same with the billing methods. So Upwork will do all of the payment for you. It's done weekly. They do it automatically, but you have to make sure that you add your billing method before they'll actually be able to hire or pay any of the virtual assistants. So you'll just go in there, they'll take a credit card, you can put in a bank account, however you want to pay the virtual assistant. But once that billing method is in there, Upwork will just bill based on the amount of hours that virtual assistant worked. Okay, and then once you begin receiving the emails with all of the candidates, again, they come right to your email, and there's going to be a button that says View Proposals. If you just click that, it'll bring you right to your Upwork account to review their resume. And then you can also message them from there. So here's an example of one that we did send a proposal to. And she gave us her rundown with the voice recording there. And we also did receive her resume along with the DISC assessment. But if you click just right in your Upwork account, you can listen to the recording and message her back and forth if you have any further questions before you decide to do an interview. And the next step would be interviewing. So you can decide to do this right from the Upwork account. There's a button that says Hire Freelancer. And from there you would just create your contract, and it'll have you put in like the amount you agreed upon, the hours that you want to work or you want them to work. And again, once they're hired, you'll just start slow, giving them 1 or 2 tasks at a time. And then another cool option that Upwork has after you hire your virtual assistant is you can actually check in on them. So Upwork, once they're logged in, it'll screenshot their computer screen when they're on the job. So you can see exactly what they're working on and what their performance looks like throughout the day. But when they're not logged on, obviously it's not going to show you what they're doing. So just keep that in mind. And then if you want to see all of your active hires, so once you actually start having, people under your team, if you just go to jobs and then all contracts, it'll pull up everybody that you have, and you can scroll down to the correct VA, and there's a few different options you can do from this page. So as you can see over here, if you click the little 3 dots, it actually gives you the option. So work diary would be the option you would choose to go in and see those screenshots I was just talking about. Messages, so you can go back and see any of the messages between you and this virtual assistant. And then if you want to change anything, so you can change weekly limit as far as hours. So let's say you set the limit at 20 hours and they come back to you and say, I need a little bit more time to finish this task. You can go in here and either allow manual time for just a one-time approval, or you can change the weekly limit if you find that they're actually going over 20 hours quite often. You can give a bonus from here and increase the pay rate. You can also pause and end the contract on the same page as well.
Amanda, on the screenshots, like the work diary, do we still do that with our VAs? Do we still kind of watch what they're doing?
We do. We actually pulled a lot of our VAs, so I don't really want to promote this at this time. It might overwhelm some people, but you know how we pay through like Payoneer and some of the other systems like TransferWise. So they're not actually working through Upwork. Upwork takes a fee from the virtual assistant for them to, you know, I guess do their job search from there. So that's why we did pull some of the VAs from there and pay them directly. So they're not having that fee cut into the actual pay that they take
Yeah,
home.
if you guys are familiar with temp agency for employees or anything like that, Upwork's basically a temp agency for virtual people, and they're taking a cut off every single time you pay these people. So they're a lot happier and make more money if you can find them on Upwork, hire them, test them out in Upwork, but we eventually pull most of them off and pay them directly through some of the methods we laid out in your course.
Yeah, and there's actually, I think in terms of the agreement of Upwork, you're not really supposed to do that. That's why I don't really want to promote people doing that, but it has happened. And so obviously on those, when you pull them from Upwork, if they're not associated with Upwork, you're not going to be able to view their work diary. So in those cases, we actually have a separate thing we have our virtual assistants do, which is sending like a weekly or a daily update of a list of everything they've done. So they're still checking in with us. They're still giving us a rundown of everything they did, all of their accomplishments. So if they're doing lead generation, they're gonna send you an update on how many leads they were able to acquire and that sort of thing. So you're always still keeping in contact and getting an update from them, but you can't pull them a work diary if they're not actually in Upwork. So if you guys hire through Upwork, of course, you'll be able to use all of these features. If you don't, then it's really up to you. There's more manual work required on your side. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like Tyler said, they're happier when they're not getting that pay cut out of their salary. So, and then here's just an update of what that looks like. So,
quick question. How do you pull them from Upwork without getting booted off of Upwork? Because this happened to me and my wife like a week ago, where we tried to cut out Upwork, and they track for that. We got flagged for trying to do it.
How did they catch you guys? Like what did you do?
It was someone that was really expensive, and it was like 8 hours, and we decided to pay them for 1 hour on Upwork, and then we Venmo'd them for 7 hours.
Oh, well, what we do is usually end the contract. So it's almost like we're firing the virtual assistant on Upwork. So we no longer employ them on Upwork at all. Once they're totally off Upwork, then we hire them just directly. And basically there's no contract really. We just use one of the other systems. So like PayPal, TransferWise, and we'll show you this here in a minute too. Payoneer, it depends on the country they're from on how you can pay them. But we just pay them every week directly. They send us an invoice for their work. And it's just done from there. So they're not associated with Upwork at all anymore from that point on. So maybe that has something to do with it. If they have an active contract with you through Upwork and then you're paying them on the side also, maybe that's why they flagged you.
Yeah, and then this discussion happens over the phone, then not on Upwork where you're putting it in writing.
No, never do
exactly.
that.
Okay.
That's why I don't want to promote it, because I know there is like you don't want to, I don't know, go against their terms of service. So I don't want to.
You definitely don't communicate because they have filters in the chat that find when people say certain keywords like, hey, will you email me to talk about, payment and stuff, and it'll flag that and review your account. So that brings you to another thing. Every virtual assistant we have has their own Gmail account through us. We'll give them a Gmail account. That way, if they ever, end their contract early, we have all their communication that they did, and we're in control of all the data they had in the time of working with us. So
and sorry, Tyler, but I was just gonna add one thing to that too. I've never really communicated with our virtual assistants in Upwork anyway. I usually use Skype, or like Tyler was saying, they have a Gmail account, so we just do like Google Hangouts, the chat, and that's how we communicate daily. But I did see something recently again from Upwork saying that they want communication in Upwork, so I don't want to get anyone in trouble that way either. But we've always pretty much communicated outside of Upwork.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is Victor. I have a question. So you can eventually hire all these VAs, that you found out about from Upwork, and there's no contract if you convert them. In other words, what you said, you just end the project and then.
Well,
Yeah,
don't
because
do
it's almost
anything
like
about
it's almost like a freelancer or a contractor where it's based on a weekly pay rate based on their work. So they'll send us an invoice for the time worked, and then we'll pay that invoice. So essentially, it is a contract, but they're not like a what is it, like a W-2 employee or 1099 or whatever it is. Like there's nothing like that between you and the virtual assistant. So you can hire them, you can fire them, you can use them every other week. It's totally up to you and the virtual assistant.
Yeah,
But just do it offline.
Do it off of Upwork. So you introduced this conversation off of the Upwork chats.
Yeah, there you go.
Once you take them off, you're kind of voiding all of your protection that Upwork has in place. So it is up to you to pay them once work's completed. Try not to pay them in advance.
Yeah.
So it's up to you to judge that. And I'm sure you can have a contract with them if you wanted. But we've had our employees on Upwork for so long and tested them out through Upwork. They were really comfortable taking them off and making sure they still perform.
Yeah, we don't do this with every virtual assistant that we hire. It's only when they're long-term and they're actually performing for us and they've been with us for a while that we'll actually consider hypothetically taking them off and then pay. I don't want to again get anyone in trouble, but we don't do this every single time. Yeah.
So
affiliated with Upwork. I'm not too concerned about saying it on here, Amanda.
I know.
So it's only for people that are doing well for a while already.
Yeah. Upwork can be like your testing ground. I want to make sure this person works. I want them to work for me for 90 days. And then as like a bonus per se, I will take them off and have them pocket a little bit more money. Something like that. But definitely feel them out first before you make any decision like that, because you're voiding that protection you got. So.
Okay. So that's basically it. Inside your account, there's a lot of different options to raise the pay, pause the contract, end the contract. But yeah, that's really the basics of actually finding and hiring a virtual assistant using Upwork. And we have, so like we were just talking about, if you were to end up taking them off of Upwork, you have to figure out a way to pay these virtual assistants now. And so you would use a few of these different methods that we have. So Payoneer, we actually have to pay the virtual assistant we have in Bangladesh because TransferWise, which is this other system we use for the Philippines, doesn't actually work in Bangladesh. So it's going to depend on what country your virtual assistant is from on how they can get paid. PayPal, I believe, works in most places. You would have to just look and see what countries they support. But I really like TransferWise. Payoneer is really easy. Tyler, do you have anything to add, or do you want me to go ahead and just play some of these videos and let them see how that works?
I wouldn't even play them because they'll have them in the course if they want to reach. As far as VAs, it's pretty much you guys sound like you need to get started with virtual assistants again and kind of figuring out what you guys need to hand off. Andre, for you, it'll be diving into, you're going to wholesaling, right? You're in rentals right now, but you want to get into wholesaling?
I want to figure out how to structure my real estate business and to basically put all that money into rental properties, but to see what else I could do. Basically.
Yeah. Okay.
And I have that strategy call with Matt on Wednesday to talk about that.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So we'll skip over paying them for now.
Okay. Did you want to do Fiverr?
Yeah, let's do Fiverr. So
okay.
Make me the host again, and I'll go through real quick.
Okay, let me find you. Okay, done.
Hey, Jim Crowley, I saw you hopped on. You there? See if Jimmy hops on. Jimmy's been a student of Matt's for years. So I hope you guys can see my screen. Fiverr, unlike Upwork, is one-off jobs. So you can complete an entire wholesale deal off of Fiverr. You can find your buyers on Fiverr. You can have a virtual person on Fiverr pull your cash buyers list for you and give you that. You can have them pull a list of motivated sellers, and then you can just be the person that markets to each of those lists and connects them. So you can do everything in that aspect. You can also do the cold calling through Fiverr. You can have a person on call for answering the phones, stuff like that. But pretty much just the one-off like list pulling and stuff like that. So on Fiverr.com, I'm not going to go through how to set up an account because that's in your guys' course. But if you go over to industries and then you go over to real estate, there's a whole bunch of different services. So if you guys take a look through there, you might actually find something that I'm not referencing that you might be able to take use of, something you need help with. But let's jump into one of these sections here. So for example, with rental properties, you can do virtual staging. These people will, you send them the empty vacancy listing photos and they can virtually stage it in a day, and it's pretty cheap, 15 bucks. You can have a day or two turnaround and make your listings look a lot better. Floor plans of your houses, you can go through, take length width measurements of each of the rooms and some pictures, and they'll assemble floor plans for you, which are also good for marketing. This is another thing. These people actually take real pictures of your properties. So instead of finding someone on Craigslist to take pictures of your house, you can look for your local area here and find someone in your area and have them take your listing photos. Brochures, flyers, social media management, stuff like that is also on there. Pretty much just have to scroll through here and look at what you want done. But specifically, just to look at something, cold calling, if you want that done, you can have someone on Fiverr do real estate cold calling, and it's pretty cheap. If you click on these, you can see their pricing structure. 100 real estate cold calls for 40 bucks. So you can buy your list on Fiverr of your motivated sellers and then purchase this guy's service for 40 bucks, hand him that list, and he'll call 100 of them for 40 bucks, 300 for 100 bucks. And pretty much as big as your list would probably be 1,700 people for 500 bucks. You have to kind of pick and choose when these make sense, because maybe you want to train someone off of Upwork to do these for you and it'll end up coming cheaper. But the thing is with Fiverr, these people are trained already and this is their specialty. This is what they're really good at, and there's no training step involved. But you guys have to just pretty much take that on a case-by-case basis on what you're delegating and how much time you want to invest with it. In the end, if you take the time to train someone through Upwork, it might end up working out a lot better for less money if you do that route. But pretty much Fiverr, just those one-off things, a couple different things they can do for you. It's a real simple site. You can type in anything at the top there that you want done, and they can, chances are someone's there to do it.
And do you just give them the script and then they go to town with it?
Yeah, so in the beginning, before you commit to anything, you will contact them, explain, write a quick paragraph of what you want to do, include your script in there, and then ask them how much it would cost for them to do it. Say, hey, I have a list of 500 leads. This is the script I want you to use. I want you to call through my Google Voice account and ask them how much that would cost for that service. And you're going to hit up maybe 5, 10 different users with good rankings, and then get those responses back and just pick who you want to use. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit more instantaneous than Upwork for sure.
Okay. How do you verify that they're doing it?
That they're doing the work?
Yeah.
Fiverr has a really good customer relationship department, where if you have any problems with it, you can pretty much get your money back with no questions asked. The actual person providing the service on Fiverr has to provide screenshots and a bunch of different criteria over time. And if they don't do that, they can get their contract pulled. But you agree off the bat to a timeline and all that stuff that's going to happen.
Okay. So they have some way of proving that they did the cold calls.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Let's see. Jimmy, did you end up coming on? I don't know if Jimmy's there. Victor, what are you thinking about with all this?
Great. I mean, I do have a question for either you or Amanda. because I know when you mentioned, we were talking about Upwork and the hiring the VAs, that you only hire entry level. Is that entry level in real estate or just pure entry level? And what's the definition of entry level for you guys?
I think when you hire up entry level on Upwork, it's entry level in general as being a virtual assistant, right?
Yeah, and it's really based
Okay.
on pay also. So the entry level is the lower pay scale. So those $3 to $5 employees that are on there, as opposed to if you hire an expert. I mean, I've seen people doing the same thing our entry level VAs do, but for, you know, $60 an hour. Like, it's insane. So that's really like the biggest difference. And I mean, they might have more experience so they can charge that, but it's really not needed. I mean, we have all the training. So as long as they're fast learners and they go through the training, that entry level employee works out just fine every time.
So, and
that's the whole point of
those are entry level, but so then with that talent preference, that 90% success rate thing that you get from Upwork, do they all have that? I know you.
I mean, not all entry level employees will have that. They all have the option to see what their success rates are, but when you filter out, so if you're actually searching for the virtual assistants, or when you go to post your ad and you only want those people to apply, that's why we select 90% and above, because no, not all entry level VAs on Upwork are going to have that success rate, but that's what we're searching for. So we're not going to even look at anybody with under a 90% success rate.
Yeah, it's probably just not worth the frustration. Think of it as like you're on eBay going to buy something and the seller has negative feedback on their account. You're not going to buy that thing from them. So you can definitely have an entry-level person, but you want them to have a good status over 90%. That way they're not going to be a pain to work with, and you kind of just avoid a headache with that.
And then the other question, I'm sorry, for Fiverr, I don't know if it was Armando who asked the question about how do you verify that they do the work. You said that Fiverr has a good way of vetting whether or not they've done the work, or?
Well, all these guys are really good at their specific niche of work. And you can look through their reviews and make sure that they actually perform well in that specific place. But for cold calling and all those different things, to make sure they're actually cold calling, you would have to have them go through one of your accounts to do the cold calling. That would be like one of your criteria. So whether it's Mojo Dialer that we talked about in the course or Google Voice, you can monitor the volume of calls they're making and the durations and if they're actually doing it. Mojo Dialer would probably be a lot easier to use.
Oh, that makes sense. So you could verify duration and number of calls that they actually
going
made.
through your softwares to provide these calls. They're not going through their end.
Okay.
And Mojo Dialer records. I don't have Mojo, but they have you can record the calls, correct? I mean, is that?
Amanda, do you know?
So you have to have a soft phone using Mojo Dialer. There's not actually a soft phone built into Mojo Dialer. So what we had to do, which is what Hazel's doing right now, is we're actually going through CallRail as our soft phone. And it does have a call recording option in CallRail. So Mojo by itself, I don't think you can make or receive calls inside Mojo. That's just the dialer, but you have to have a phone in order to use that dialer, if that makes sense.
So CallRail is your cell phone, and Mojo is like your contact book in your phone, if you had to make an analogy. So what's it? CallRail will record the calls for you.
Okay, I guess I'll have to use it.
Yeah. We talked about CallRail in the course too. We talked about it more for running virtual voice or ringless voicemail, but we actually started using CallRail as our soft phones for our VAs too. Google Voice.
Okay.
Google Voice just recently, Google Voice used to be our only soft phone that we use, but they passed something where they're getting really strict about out of the United States users contacting United States users. So we just went to CallRail to fix that.
Okay.
So you don't use Google Voice now, you use CallRail.
We switched off Google Voice because we're on a corporate account with Google, and they just got really strict with our out of the country people because they're thinking about, you know, solicitors and call bots and stuff like that. So
yeah, and that's for our cold calling. So that's what Hazel's doing because she was using so many minutes anyway. But like Daisy, she's still set up with Google Voice, so you can still use it, but it depends on how often, how many minutes. Because once you start reaching a certain amount, I think that's when Google kind of steps in and says, "Hey, wait a minute!" Like, yeah.
There's an exception with Daisy too, that she's always logging into her virtual computer in the office here in Iowa. and I don't think she's ever tried to access that Google account from her personal computer in the Philippines. So it never threw up that red flag.
Yeah.
She has a United States-based Gmail account, and she always log in through a United States-based computer. What else are you guys thinking of? I see Jimmy's trying to connect again. You guys have any questions? Or
Tell me about the ringless voicemail, please. And I apologize if that's not the scope of this call.
no, that's fine. We answer any questions you guys got. Amanda, do you think you can explain it better than me, or?
I can do like a quick just explanation, but it might be another video because it is kind of long, like for setup and that kind of thing. But pretty much what Ringless Voicemail is, it's a platform where you can go and upload one of your lists, and pretty much from there, it's like an auto. I don't want to say auto dialer, but kind of like nobody actually answers the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you've ever gotten where you look at your phone and you have a missed call or there's a voicemail, but your phone never actually rings. So that's what the system is. And it can do thousands and thousands and thousands of these really, really fast. And you can set, daily limits. So if you don't want to be overwhelmed, it allows you the opportunity to only select, like if you want 50 calls to go out a day. And that sort of thing. So it's really fast, and we use it a lot, especially for follow-ups. So what we've been doing lately is pulling.
For us.
I'm sorry.
It's a follow-up marketing sequence for us. We're always going to send something first. We're going to try and cold call them or direct mail them first, and then we'll follow up with Ringless Voicemail just to contact them again.
Yeah, and pretty much what it is we have a voice recording of Matt pretty much saying like, hey, I saw that you might have a house for sale. I was interested in taking a look. Give me a call back. So it's really personalized too. It's his actual voice saying these words that gets blasted out to everyone. And when they call back, we have that go through call reel. So one, we can track our marketing. We can see that it actually came from that campaign. But two, they can leave a message and it goes through call reel. And then I get an email of all of the voicemails left so I can go through and listen to them so that we can do our follow-up and contact that person back. So that's the best way to set up ringless voicemail when you get to that point. You don't really want to set it up going to like a call center or to your personal phone if you're going to be sending a lot of these. We did that when we first set it up, and it was really overwhelming. So that's when we figured out that we needed to set this up to go to voicemail on the call back too. So it goes to their voicemail, and when they call back, it immediately goes to a voicemail that we set up with Matt's voice, saying, sorry, I missed your call, and that sort of thing.
Oh, because otherwise they just call back and it's overwhelming your phone.
Filter.
Exactly.
They'll hit a voicemail too, and if they end up leaving a voicemail, then they're obviously motivated or obviously off your marketing list.
Right.
You can go from there. It's kind of just a double filter.
Okay.
That's explained all in the course too, if you guys want to go through step by step.
Okay.
Yeah, ringless voicemail is pretty good. One of those instantaneous methods like texting, you're gonna get an instant response. Direct mail takes a couple weeks. Facebook ads might not work or take some time, but texting and RVM are those instantaneous. Once you send it, you're gonna get action coming back. Anything else, you guys? Armando, what are you thinking?
You know what? I'm just here to get ideas of ways to leverage all of this, honestly, because my payroll is about it is about $30,000 every 2 weeks. So I'm definitely going to leverage the resources, and we have one virtual assistant now is extracting data for MLS offers that we chase some NOD leads and stuff like that, and he prepares all that data, but there's so much more that we can take advantage of.
Yeah, even with you wanting to remove yourself from the day-to-day a little bit, you can have a VA just for yourself that goes into the company, communicates with each of the different employees, and gathers all the information into a report for you and presents it. That way you're not taking someone's valuable time. You can have this person for $4 an hour, go do it, gather all the stuff throughout the week, and just give you that report at the end of the week. That's a pretty valuable one. But, you can use a VA for anything. What you can train anyone to do, a VA can do.
My overall thing for signing up was just to get different ideas of what another company's doing, another successful company, flipping company is doing, just to automate stuff and just learn and be able to implement some of those things here in our company.
Yeah, so throughout this whole month, we're going to do every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We're going to talk about all different topics with different people from our company. Each different department head coming in to talk about their specific piece of the renovation company and the property management company. And you can ask them all different questions because they're, of course, going to be experts in all those different sections.
Same time?
Yeah, it should be 1 o'clock. I'll, of course, email you guys before each one, but I'm thinking 1 o'clock Central Time every Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Okay.
And we'll have, I think
Okay.
we'll have 8 to 10 different people coming on. And Matt will come on every single Wednesday to teach. So he'll have, the high level Q&A, and then obviously his lessons he's teaching. I think you guys have the calendar for this. Do you guys need another copy of the calendar, or?
If you could send out calendar invites would be good too.
Yeah, I'll send you guys the calendar.
I think my call with Matt is at 1 o'clock on Wednesday. Might have to reschedule it.
Yeah, we'll have to, maybe that got overlooked. Maybe we'll end up pushing this on Wednesday to a different time. So we'll figure it out. But before we wrap up today, anyone else have questions before we go?
I got a question. This is Victor. I don't know if it was Amanda who was saying that you have somebody doing cold calls for you. I think you said, hey, is it Hazel? And she's on a different computer. Why do you have your VAs on another computer? Is there a reason for that, or?
Yeah, our VAs are using their computers wherever they are in the world, Philippines, Bangladesh, Asia, wherever they are. They log into a laptop in our office. That way they get a local IP address here in Iowa. And we avoid all the spam filters and all the different red flags with an out of the United States IP address. And say you're on Craigslist and you have someone from the Philippines posting 20 ads a day. They're going to all get flagged because it realizes, hey, this person's not in Iowa. So they log into that computer remotely here locally, and then they can go do what they have to do, and it just avoids all that, like those spam filters. That's the main reason.
So it's one computer. I'm not a tech person, but so it's one computer for all the VAs you have?
No, one
Right.
computer per VA. So each person gets a laptop, and they're just real basic laptops. They're $300-400 computers, and they're just we have a shelf in our closet with 8 of them all stacked up, and you can actually watch them work also, which is another good thing. If your cold caller is working through your remote computer, you can physically watch them work. You can have this thing positioned on the corner of your desk and watch them log in and go to work. So
Basic computer. Okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty neat.
It's interesting.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Would have never thought of that.
Yeah, well, I think we're talking about that in a future calendar lesson. It's also in your course too, if you want to jump to go look at it. It's called the Team Viewer section.
Who talks to the motivated sellers when they do call back?
Amanda?
Does Matt do it personally, or does he outsource that?
No, Matt hasn't done that in a really long time.
Okay.
So when they call back, we actually use Podio to store all of our seller leads. So once they come in, I go in, I review everything. There's a lot that we'll just go ahead and filter out, like if they're in flood zones, we don't buy there. If they're mobile homes, so you just screen them, make sure it's a house that you actually want to pursue. And if it is, from there, what we do is we have an acquisition agent that's kind of on the ground. So he'll actually pick up the phone and give the seller lead a call, and he'll try to get them on the hook to, go and do a walkthrough of the property, get pictures, get a description. He comes back and gives us all of that information, and from there, I'll make an offer on the property. And then, he tries to wrap up the contract. So once we make the offer, he goes and negotiates, calls the seller back. He'll actually let me know if they accept it, and then I'll create the contract. And then from there, he goes to their house or wherever, gets it signed. And then we just get the process rolling from there. So we do have someone on the ground that actually goes and walks these properties, but it's not required. Everything can be done online. We did that for a long time, where I would actually call the sellers, get it under contract, and you can do everything again, like HelloSign. We have a lesson on that. So electronic signatures, but we have someone on the ground going and getting these, houses under contract for us.
Almost all of our first touches with marketing, all the inbound leads, I think they hit the call center first, right, Amanda?
It depends on how they're going out. So like direct mail, yes, we'll always hit the call center first, but like RVM will come to me through an email. So like because we have it routed through CallRail to go straight to voicemail, I'll get those. I'll review those. If it's a lead, then usually I'll go into Podio and find the lead and then tag Eric
Pass it
from
direct
there.
to Eric. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it either goes through the call center, or it's either a direct way of getting a lead, and it gets eventually all those leads get passed off to Eric, who is our acquisitions guy. He'll be the person dealing with them throughout the transaction and actually talking them through the deal. But yeah, call center first.
Okay, so you have an acquisitions agent that does the negotiation with the seller.
Yeah.
Yes.
We all communicate in a system called Podio. Podio
Okay.
stores our leads, and we can comment on them and talk through all the specifics of a thing. We all get in there as a team and work in Podio online, and all get on the same page and delegate tasks in there.
Okay.
So, yep. For all the deals we do, just one guy on the ground, Eric. Anything else, you guys? Thoughts before we sign off?
And question, and when will the replay, you're going to put the replay of this on
Yeah,
the course page?
Since this is the first one, I'm going to create a YouTube playlist, and I'll share you guys that link. The playlist link will never change. I'll put all of June's replays into there, and it takes like, I think, 3 hours after the Zoom meeting's done for the video to process and download.
Okay.
And then I'll pop it in there. It takes another 20 minutes. So end of the day, today, if not tomorrow, I'll have it up for you.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Thank
So Wednesday, I'm thinking 1 o'clock Central. We'll figure out Andre's scheduling with that, but 1 o'clock Central, we should be hopping back on to talk about bank financing with Matt, and then Q&A again. So think about some questions, maybe get started with the course and get some action done. That way you can come up with some more things to talk about next time.
Great.
Thank you, everyone.
Sound good, you guys?
Yeah. What if we have follow-up
Yeah, great.
questions? Can we email you?
Follow-up questions, either hold them to the next meeting so we can talk about it and everyone can learn together, or you can email, but it's best if we do them on Zoom. That way they're recorded and everyone can benefit from it. So
Okay.
just write them down every, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you can get them answered.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks. This was
Thanks,
great.
guys. Ciao. Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you Wednesday.